Hey all, it's Joe here, and here I'm to talk to you about who I want for DLC in the upcoming game Pokken Tournament. Now, there hasn't been any confirmed DLC, but I mean, we can all hope for it, and if it never comes to pass, then there's always the next game, which I'm also hoping for as well. But with all that out of the way, let's go over who I personally want for Pokken Tournament. To start off, I'm picking the flying type Staraptor. Now, I know what you're probably all thinking, why not Hawlucha? And my reason for not picking that guy is, of course, Pika Libre. Those two seem very similar to me, and I don't really think that Nintendo would put them both in the same game, but Staraptor would be much different from the both of them. Staraptor is a much bigger Pokemon that could also have insane range with its wings, but maybe not quite as much HP as some of the other fighters in the game. As well with that, Staraptor is a fighting type, so of course it can go mono-a-mono with some awesome combo scenes, and overall I feel like it would fit pretty well. It would be amazing to see this thing power up with agility or something instead of Omega to become even quicker in battle, and I feel like it would fit in this game quite nicely. As we have already seen, Pokemon of all shapes and sizes can make it into this game, so I feel like it would be really cool to see a bird into the game, and it would be a great way to mix up the game and add a lot of diversity to the gameplay and the tempo of the game as a whole when you do add one of these birds into the match at hand. My next pick is not a fan favorite, but one that I felt like from the beginning should have made it into the game, that being Barbaracle. There's essentially one big reason why I really want this thing into the game, a burst mode shell smash. I really want that. I feel like this would fit so well in a fighting game and make this fighter amazing in the right hands, but also awful in the wrong hands, which should just be what a fighter does. What I would want Shell Smash to do on Barbaracle is of course highly increase his attack and his speed, but make him take a huge amount of damage for every single time he's hit. This would allow a fighter with insane risk/reward, and one that must be played with exact plays in order to not be punished in order to do well in the actual game. Other than that, I would also just feel like Barbaracle would fit as a whole in Pokken. Barbaracle in Pokemon X and Y is based on attacking at a very close range with its special ability Tough Claw, and this could very easily translate to Pokken with a very close range oriented attack style that does a lot of damage per hit, but it could also be countered by some well-timed defensive plays. I would love to see somebody this risky in a game like Pokken, but I don't know if Nintendo would ever allow Barbaracle actually into the game. Hitmonlee to me seemed like a must-have for Pokken, and I'm generally surprised that not he or any of his brethren, be it Hitmonlee or Hitmonchan, actually made it into the game. It would seem like a perfect fit for this type of game, but I presume Nintendo didn't quite call the shots like I would, and instead they put in Machamp. Even so, I think Hitmontop would be an amazing addition to this game if he somehow could just join the roster. The playstyle of this guy could be very diverse from the others. Most of the fighters in the cast use a variety of punching and kicking along with a few long range in order to complete their movesets, but Hitmontop could bring a lot of spinning attacks and momentum to the table. You could allow this guy to quickly spin around the field of battle and run into the foe for a phase shift. After that, you could keep up the spinning momentum and combo the heck out of the enemy. As a way to balance this, you could make so that when you have no momentum/speed, you have very little combos, and make it so it's really hard to get speed/momentum in the first place when running around the map. This altogether would make someone very unlike the rest of the cast, a unique butterfly as it were. For Scizor, I would love a tanky defensive playstyle. Now I know most people would think this sounds kinda weird, but hear me out. Scizor traditionally has been a sweeper, but I wish that in Pokken they could make him a defensive Pokemon even though he isn't the most beefy looking. As it is right now, they make all the skinny ones with low HP and all the bigger ones with more HP. It would be a really kick of fresh air to see something different from this, and I feel like Scizor could of course bring this. He's a steel type, so I wouldn't say it's too far off to think this way, and I feel most people would accept his tankiness just because of his typing. But of course, I'm not going to ignore his technician ability, the thing that really makes Scizor, well, Scizor in competitive, and I feel like it could still fit in this game also. So here's what I'm thinking as far as that. You could have most of his attacks be quite slow and powerful, such as the other defensive Pokemon. But the trick is that some of his special attacks could be almost instant, but those are the ones that do a lot less damage. With these two things hand in hand, the enemy would never know what you're up to, and it would be a great guessing game for them. This seems kind of similar to the way you play him in the game he comes from, and would create a very fun and diverse character. Finally, for the one I want the most, Deoxys. So I bet you could all know where I'm going with this, and yes, I want Deoxys to be able to change forms mid-battle. It would be crazy for such a mechanic to be in the game, to change from one type of fighter to another, but if they could implement it correctly, I would applaud them for all their hard work. Going from a balanced fighter to a defensive form fighter to one with great specials, and finally finish it off with a speed fighter would be such a feat to do by Nintendo. I guess you could compare it to Shulk from Smash Bros, but I want a much bigger change. That being the speed of the moves change, and even some of the special moves could change altogether. Imagine going in with speed, then running away into an offensive spacer with of course the attack mode, then go tanking when they're all up in your face. All of this would be really great to see in the game, and I would love for this to happen. One big problem for this idea though, that it's pretty easy to see, is of course the balance. It would be really hard to make Deoxys changing forms not be way too OP, but I feel like a long cooldown between the switches could do the trick. However it goes though, this would definitely be my favorite fighter in the game, and unlike any of the others. And there you have it, my top 5 DLC Pokemon I want in Pokken. Now I know a lot of these guys were a bit of a stretch, but I hope you still enjoyed the video anyway. I'm extremely hyped for this game when it comes out, and I can't wait to play it / stream it. Tell me what you guys think of the list, and who you would want in the game yourself. With all that said though, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.